After we got the diagnosis, everything changed. The way that we view Noah, the way we converse with our family, the way I viewed my friends and their problems, the way I viewed work, it just absolutely everything changed.
Once we came to know that Amelia is going to be born with thalassemia major, I think it just made life a little bit more easier to plan, because we thought we already knew what we were getting into.
I think the more I understood it, the more comfortable I got with what my options were and everything like that. But the hardest part was not knowing. And for me, and maybe it's a control thing, but for me that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to endure.
Patrick has quite a normal life, like an average 10-year-old boy, because his PKU was caught early and he was diagnosed from a newborn.
That shake is something I have every day, 3 times a day. It's so I can get enough tyrosine in my body. Tyrosine is like energy, and if I don't get enough of that, I will be weak as heck and my brain will start to hurt.
Once you get a diagnosis, you sort of know what you're dealing with. What's his life expectancy? What are the potential outcomes?
Is there anything treatable?
Noah's treatments have been quite light because there's not a lot of treatment options. He's on a medication, we hope it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, but there's no other options for him.
Ever since Amelia had her first transfusion when she was 2 years old, we've always told her that she needs to go to the hospital regularly every month and get a blood transfusion done.
We try to normalise it as best we can. We don't make a big deal about it.
Josh, for whatever reason, the wiring system in him is such that it makes him hyperventilate and it makes him not breathe at times.
They were usually dismissed by medical professionals as Josh being just anxious. One doctor actually said to us, just pop him in his room and shut the door. Like, he'll just let him ride it out. Then the diagnosis came about, and one of the key symptoms of Pitt-Hopkins syndrome is this aberrant breathing, so a breathing pattern that's quite abnormal and unsustainable. The diagnosis meant that we were able to get a management plan established between us and the paediatrician, and then ultimately the neurology and the respiratory team. So that was a big deal, but that only came about through diagnosis.
With his diagnosis, it causes motor skill problems and also fine motor skills. I said to Kasum, we can't look at a toy as a toy anymore. We look at it as a therapy tool. How can this toy benefit him? Close, it's like.
As it turns out, like, one of the things that my disease can be managed by is vitamin B6, large doses of vitamin B6. It gives me hope.
In a way, I'm grateful that he was so young when we found it, not just because early diagnosis is the best preventative you can have with any disease, but also it's his life. I'm very conscious of the fact that we're just the audience. Eventually he's going to be old enough to process those emotions and understand that, and I'm constantly working to be ready for that, because it's going to lean on us.
Yeah.
We often say that Josh is not who he is because of Pitt-Hopkins, he's who he is despite the Pitt-Hopkins. But having that diagnosis has changed everything and nothing.
Yeah.
It's opened up a whole community that we didn't know existed, and it's helped his doctors formulate treatment plans.
If I can prolong the need for a kidney transplant, if I can remove the excess oxalate entirely with the vitamin B6, it really helped me to move forward and figure out what's next and what I can do, and gave me back some of that control and some of that hope that maybe things won't be as bleak as what I originally thought.